Good morning and welcome in to Love Yourself Spiritual Channel. I'm Peggy. I'm continuing today our 3-card Major Arcana reads, reading the spiritual energies and what the divine would want to teach us about them and how to work with them in our lives. And I thought I would just go ahead and get started. I did already clean the cards. We're going to say invite this divine spirit in to play with us this morning. So we'll just pause a moment and do that. Divine Spirit, we would love to have your guidance and your presence here in this reading. And we trust that what we will learn here will be important for our lives going forward. Archangel Michael, please protect and watch over us and any and all ancestors of mine and the viewers that would like to come in and assist in this reading and assist in clarity. We would love to have you. Thank you. So, The first card is the Heirophant that we're going to talk about today. And the Heirophant is kind of the lawgiver of the spiritual energies. He rules the institutions such as church, marriage, those things which are spiritually right. Essentially, anything that is spiritually wrong is going to cause pain in another person. So he's kind of in charge in saying, well, we don't kill people. We don't cut their fingers off. You know, just the things that we know intuitively are not right, he is going to be backing. And when the Hierophant puts his stamp of approval on something, it is approved of. And so then the next card we're going to clarify is the Lovers. And the Lovers, I mean, who doesn't love that, right? And the Lovers, for me, always indicates, because 2 of Cups can also indicate an intimate relationship. But beyond an intimate relationship, the Lovers is a relationship that is soul bonded, that is soul tied. And whether you believe in reincarnation or not, or believe that, you know, we chose to interact with certain people while you're here or not, doesn't really matter. But you'll know if you're in a lover's connection, because it can be difficult. If you are uninvolved and that person is uninvolved, it's going to be difficult, because these are relationships that we wanted them to be special. We needed them to be special enough that we would put up with more than we would from other people, potentially. And we came knowing that we would trigger each other on purpose to help the other, you know, to help each other to grow. And then the last card that we have today is the Chariot. And I love this card. I may pause the video at some point and grab another deck to show the Chariot really clearly, because the Chariot is a really interesting energy. And I think that most of the traditional decks really explain the energy well just in the picture. And I'll just describe it for you right now. The Chariot is a card of, you know what, I'm going to pause it. Okay, so I did pause it so that I could find a Chariot card that actually depicts it, because I love the picture, because it actually, the visual of it, I think, is really helpful. This card is a little dark. I'm going to get it as close to the camera and try to get it to... Okay, so you can see the white horse. There's a white horse and a dark horse. And what that represents in the card of the Chariot is always the light and dark energies. And the thing that I really want to point out, and that you can see because this horse is white, is that there's no reins from this horse's head or the mouth, where it would normally be. I'm a horse trainer, so, and going across this horse to the driver. So the driver of the Chariot does not drive the Chariot with any control of the actual things that are pulling it, the entities that are pulling it. And those energies that are pulling it are your intuition and your passion. It's your driving force, your mental energies. And your mental energies and your emotional energies have to align. in order for the chariot to go forward, because it can't obviously be going in opposite directions if they're hooked to the chariot and you're in it. That's be a disaster. And so, and in spiritual energy, it's the fastest spiritual energy moving. So when the chariot goes forward, you take chariots to war. That was the purpose of a chariot, was to go to war, because you could move really very quickly in the chariot. And so I think it's a really interesting card, and it does indicate that you have to consolidate you in order to go forward with that much speed. You have to have real clarity. So it's a card that really calls for the whole thing. Rest on it, know what you're doing, align your energies, and then go as fast as you can, because it's time to go to war. So I love the Chariot card. It's actually one of my favorite cards. Probably because I'm a Sag, and so I like to do everything really fast. Like, once I make a decision and I line up with it, I embody the Chariot. There's no doubt. I think that's kind of a fire sign energy MO. So let's start over here with this Heirophant and see what Spirit would want to teach us about the Heirophant. I'm a person that doesn't particularly like rules. So when the Heirophant comes out in one of my readings, I sometimes call him Mr. Grumpy Pants. But that's just me. He's very important. Things do need to be right. But I can still tease him. Okay, last shuffle for the Heirophant. He's always ornery with me. We're going to shuffle one more time and see if we can get it a little bit softer. Okay. We're happy with that. And I do a 3-card downline. It'll be mental, emotional, and spiritual energies being offered, and we'll do 1 card. I got the whole deck upside down. The Tower. Yeah, he would be the one that would send the Tower. Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands, Ace of Swords, High Priestess. So from the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Swords, the energy that you don't see that is supporting you, possibly, or supporting the Heirophant. The Ace of Swords is about seeking to begin again in a different thought, in a different train of thought. So having a changed mind in a situation. So the Heirophant, when he lays down the law and he says no to something, you're going to have to see it differently. You're going to have to introspect differently. And I heard something I just think is so true last night. No situation is good or bad. The only thing that's good or bad is how you're responding to it. And so when the universe says no, not that, that's not what we're doing, then it is your choice to see it differently or not. And the Tower is a moment of clear insight. And this is also a spiritual energy. And a lot of times if things aren't going right, and the Heirophant will come in to say no more, and will want the energies to change, a Tower moment is going to happen. And in this card, no one is, that I see, but in a lot of tarot decks, there's people jumping out of the building. And the universe is essentially just coming in and saying, okay, we're going to burn down this situation, so jump, get out. And it's just like being on a train and picked up, changed to another track and going in the other direction. That's what a Tower moment does for you. And then in the heart space, the Knight of Swords. And so potentially when you have a situation where the Heirophant would come to set things right, in the heart, you're going to have to get more information. You're going to have to assess what the tower was about, what that moment of clear insight was for, and then go forward as the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords doesn't go slowly, but he does stick to his guns. Once he knows that he's right, and this Ace of Swords is a new beginning with thought, a new perspective in the mind, and then you hand that off to the Knight of Swords, he's not going to be deterred. Once he knows the truth, he's going to go forward with the truth, and he's not going to be sidestepped. And then the Knight of Wands in spiritual energy, and the wands are fire energy. That's about passion. That's about persistence, because fire persists. So taking what's in you out of you, and with this new perspective, maybe a little bit overruling the heart space, even knowing the truth, whether you like it or not, knowing that it's the truth, and then passionately standing up for the truth. Because if the Knight of Swords is not aligned, I love that the Knight of Wands is not aligned mentally and emotionally, he can be a little bit of a disaster. That's where you get pride and arrogance and things like jealousy and stuff like that. And he comes in to fight, but not in a good way. But if you align with your heart space, your mental energies, in this new perspective, then and you take the time to do that, and then go forward and you back that up spiritually with passionate energy, I'm standing for the truth. Whether I like it or not, I'm standing for the truth. Then the Heirophant is always going to work well in your life. It's always good, and it hasn't always in mine, because I'm ornery. So, but I did learn a lot being ornery. That's for sure. Okay, let's see the Lovers. What would you give us on the Lovers? That's so much easier. The Heirophant and I. We've had a bit of a love-hate relationship in life. I appreciate him more now, though. Oh, Ten of Swords, yes. So the energy that you don't see, often the subconscious energy. Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of funny. Okay, I'm actually going to take two cards. I rarely do that. I rarely take two cards as the supporting energies, but I feel like, and I asked and he said, yes, take these. I feel like Spirit wants you to know that it is potentially the most painful thing. A Ten of Swords, that is fullness in pain. That is the end of a cycle in pain. And the Sun, which is the happiest, most fulfilled, growth, expansion, warmth in the deck. So that's the most painful card in the deck. That's being stabbed, the Ten of Swords, being stabbed in the back, left for dead, all of those things. And that's the happiest card in the deck. And that is what the Lovers is for us. These soul bond energies that come to help us to grow and to change, they're not always comfortable. And it is our choice whether or not we grow and change. And the more we resist it, the more it hurts. The more painful it is. Eight of Pentacles, do the work. Yes, it requires work. Knight of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. Okay. So, I know that people, when we meet someone and you feel that soul bond energy and you say, it's like I've known them forever. You essentially have. Spiritually you have. And they're so familiar that you can't imagine it ever being anything but fabulous. But that's not always the case, because sometimes these energies, because they come to be special and then to help us to grow, it's going to be Ten of Swords and the Sun. It's going to be a mixture of both. And it's going to require work. And I think we don't see or appreciate how much work it's going to be, because growth is hard. Changing is hard. And then the Knight of Pentacles. The Knights, again, taking what we want outside of ourselves. And this is the Knight that makes a plan. If you want something done really well, a foundation laid, you don't want to destroy anything, you want to build something, you send the Knight of Pentacles. He's not going to move fast, but he's going to be methodical, and nothing is going to be left undone. It's going to be done properly. Earth signs have that, and Earth signs are always about work. When Earth comes up, the Pentacles comes up in a reading, for me, it's always about doing some 3D form of work. And the last card is the Two of Pentacles, which is always about creating a balance between you and something else, between you and another person, between you and the lover. So I think Spirit really wants to drive home. I mean, that's 3 Pentacles in that downline. That's uncommon. That the lovers is going to require work. Yes, it's going to hurt you, and yes, it's going to be the Sun. It's going to be the most happy. And it does require work. And I don't think people appreciate how much work it is for the self. But if you had a job and you didn't go to work, you just didn't show up. Say you only went 1 day a week. You only showed up for that job 1 day a week. You would get fired. And you should. You're not going to get paid. And the same thing with a soul bond lovers relationship. If you don't show up and do the work, you're not getting paid. You can't just go clock in and then sit in the lunchroom and do nothing for the entire day and expect to get a paycheck. You can't clock into a soul bond relationship, do nothing to contribute to the relationship, and expect the relationship to produce the Sun. It's going to produce 10 of Swords. It's supposed to. So keep that in mind in your relationships. They require work just like a job. Or what you get back will be equivalent to what you put in. You'll get fired. And that's not fun. And if you're a person who is doing more of the giving and you're not being given back to, fire them. Or make sure that they start giving back. Let them know that you expect them to show up and do the work with you. You have to stand up for yourself. Know your worth. Chariot. The Fool. Yeah. The Fool. I love the Fool. So the supporting energy is the Fool, and it is supporting. And I think the most important thing with the Chariot has to be trust. And if the Fool brings any energy, it's the energy of trust. Because it goes forward with the understanding that the universe is going to support it. The Fool does. In the traditional tarot decks, the Fool is literally just walking straight off of a cliff with not a care in the world. And but he trusts. He fully trusts that the divine is going to catch him, is going to support him. And so as you move forward with your chariot, trust is absolutely required, because you have no control of what's going out except for what from within you. Everything starts with you. Page of Cups, a little bit of learning and love. The World. Death. Yeah. Spirit is really, he's funny today. He's driving this home. Okay, so the Page of Cups is about a little bit of learning in love. Cups are always about love, and also possibly sending messages. So as you're learning, make sure that you're conveying this to whoever you're learning, whether they're friends, whether it's a lover's relationship. Don't keep the learning that you do to yourself, but do learn about love, learn about loving yourself. That's primary. Everything starts with the self. And then the World, that's about cycles, understanding your cycles. So if you're going to learn about the cycles that you're keeping and how you're showing up in the world, and then understanding that how you show up in the world depicts what comes back to you. And then Death, I actually love the Death card. Death is about transformation. When something dies, it's never just like death, nothing. That's just not the way that it is. It's like, oh, it's dying, it's dying. When we're talking about cycles, there are sudden death. But in a cycle, nothing just goes, boom. There's a tower moment. But if you looked back, you knew that you could see the red flags, or you could see the tower moments coming. So death and then rebirth. And it's sort of like that. And it is painful right after the death. It's a 10 of Swords after the death, if it's a death relationship or something. But Death is always an opportunity for transformation. And while it isn't comfortable, like a butterfly goes into the cocoon and actually liquefies their whole body, the whole thing, and then rebuilds it from soup. Gross. And painful. Sounds awful. So yeah, it won't be comfortable. But if you follow your intuition and your heart, as in the Chariot, and you trust that you will be guided, you will. The guidance that you need will be there. Definitely. And I thought we would do a couple of twin flame ascension oracles for this reading, since we have the lovers, and twin flames is definitely a lover's connection. You're upside down. Why are you upside down? Can't have that. Just gonna shuffle these twists. Sorry for the pause. My granddaughter got here and had to come give me a hug, so I'm back. All right, let's see what Spirit has from the Twin Flame deck. What else? Anything else, Spirit? Okay, take those three. All right. Heal abandonment. Time to forgive. Okay, so heal any abandonment issues that you have. And those start in childhood. Generally, almost always. And they can be tricky to find and to dig out, but you can do it. It takes work. Eight of Pentacles, it's going to take some work. But if you don't do it, then you're going to keep experiencing abandonment in your relationships, all relationships, until you heal that, because a wound always is seeking to be healed, and so it's going to attract to itself similar situations until you stop and look at it. The Electric, creative expression. Yeah. Be the fool. Be the fool. Allow yourself some creative expression. Holy Grail code. Receive the gift. And the gift is love. That's a cup. Receive it from yourself first. You can't receive love you're not willing to give to yourself. So if you're not loving yourself, but you want to be loved, because you're abandoning yourself and not loving yourself first, you are going to not receive the love you want from others, and there will be a feeling of abandonment. But that starts with you. You will have to fix that within yourself first and heal that wound first before you can receive the love that you're wanting, because no one can give you what you refuse to give to yourself. And while you may not really understand that you're not giving to yourself, if you look at the way that people are responding to you, it will show you. And that's a cycle that we often keep until we heal. So anyway, I hope that this helped you, and put in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you would like a personal reading or spiritual counseling, then you can email me. My email's in the description box. And otherwise, be blessed. Have a great day. Namaste.